Hi Leo, welcome to your week ahead horoscope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, my readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign, Leo, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you. With that said, remember they are general readings. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody, and that is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So your key to the week this week is the Devil card. Where is it that your mind, your bad self-talk or all of those kinds of things are getting the better of you? This could be a week where yes, all the usual rules apply, addictions or things that you're doing or, indulging in that maybe aren't necessarily good for you. That all applies. But this week, I actually feel like the thing that you're really overindulging in is your self-talk. And I feel like this might be that you're giving yourself a really hard time, or you're pushing yourself beyond what is possible at this moment in time. Now, remember, as a Leo, ascendant, especially to a lesser degree that sun and the moon, but still very relevant. Because the sun is moving through the sign of Cancer, this is your ruler. The ruler of your sun, moon or ascendant is currently in the sign before its own sign. So this is in effect a 12th house transit. This is the time to be super, super gentle with yourself. This is the time to be really gentle, nourishing, caring with yourself. And that's not just like, oh, well, I gave myself a bubble bath and I ate, a whole chocolate brownie. That's not it. It's more than that. This is mind, body and spirit. This is about really nurturing and nourishing yourself and looking after yourself across the board. When it comes to, for those of you that are continued subbies, Rafi loves you. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit that subscribe button. For your actions and options, you've got the Death card. So this really is a time where letting go, like this week, you could decide that you're letting go of a bad habit. This week could be a week where you say, okay, you know what, I've had my pity party, I've had my moment, I have, eaten my weight in ice cream. That may or may not have been me, like whatever it might be. And now you're ready to emerge from that and say, right, this is a bad habit that isn't doing me any favors. So this week, I really urge you to be open with yourself and honest with yourself, because that's where the true healing starts to happen, about what your bad habits are and how they are stopping you from achieving something that you want to achieve. This is, it's a week to be, yes, very, you got to be looking after yourself, absolutely. But it's a week to be, not to be complacent. So you got to be really honest with yourself about what it is that you're needing to end. But I do feel for a lot of you, this is you ending a bad habit of some sort or knocking something on the head. So, that's great. When it comes to your communications, excuse me, your communications and conversations, you have the Eight of Wands. So this card is a card of communication on its own without being specifically in this position, which tells me that this is going to be a very busy week for you. There's going to be a lot of questions. There's going to be a lot of things that are demanded from you, wanted from you, expected from you, needed from you. And there's going to be you in the center of all of it, having a lot of conversations about what's taking place. For those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, don't just be busy for the sake of being busy. Okay, there's a difference between productivity and busyness, and I kind of feel like it might be you're trying to do the latter and convince yourself that you're being productive, when really it's just like you're adding more and more and more. And for what? There's obviously I say obviously, there's potentially some kind of escapist energy behind this. Then you got this Death card with the Eight of Wands. I'll get into that in a moment, actually. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, this could be a time where you are, and everybody is to some capacity these days, but maybe you're dealing with somebody at a distance and they are possibly, when they say like, don't don't interact with people that are determined to misunderstand you or something along those lines. This kind of feels like that, like there are crossed wires coming in here. And I gotta be honest, because it's the Eight of Wands, it might just be that you've missed or overlooked a detail. And with that Devil card, it's like this is something that you're going to take really personally. And you know, all Leos take it personally when it comes to their work, because your work is, you know, it's a big part of who you are. However, this is not an attack, and if you take it in that sentiment, you might end up overreacting in, you know, trying to fix it. So just be mindful of that. Also, for those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, whatever offers or opportunities are presented to you or on the table this week, just be sure that they actually speak to where you are trying to go. I don't know why this, no, I do know why. Sorry, I'm trying to retrain this thing out of myself. I keep saying it's a tick, it's a verbal tick, where I keep saying like, I don't know why I feel this. Like I do know, it's my intuition speaking to me. My intuition feels or is telling me or is informing me somebody's going to offer you something this week that will be very shiny, it will be very glowy, but it may not necessarily have any substance to it. And so this week, just be mindful of what is being offered, what's being put on the table. You know, if someone's trying to like, oh yeah, you know, this would be absolutely amazing for you. Or, you know, if they're blowing smoke up your butt and all of the rest of it, like watch out for that this week, because it's going to be rife. And it's important that you don't allow your leonine pride, darling, to get the better of you, okay? Just see it for what it is rather than what it's being sold to be. When it comes to those of you that are retired and no longer working, because you've got this Three of Swords here, it's funny because I kind of get, yeah, because you've got this Three of Swords right next to it in the, you know, heart and half sector or love and relations, which isn't just about personal relationships, it's also, excuse me, it's all about familial ties. This tells me that this week it's likely that you're going to try to spread yourself too thin, and you're going to try to do this thing where at times, Leo, you have this tendency to try to be all things to all people at any given moment. Even the sun can only light one half of the globe at a time. So what I'm saying is be mindful of over promising or trying to over deliver or spin more plates than is possible right now, especially when it comes to your interpersonal relationships. And maybe, just maybe, this is where that negative self-talk comes in, because it's like, wow, you know, I should have been able to do all of this, I should have been able to da-da-da-da-da-da-da. There's times, you know, it doesn't happen so often well, I say it doesn't happen so often anymore, it's not like it used to, but there have been times where I've had to record the weekly videos in 2 batches. Because after the first half, I'm just absolutely knackered, you know, and then the next day I will film the next 6. It's just, you know, none of us is a perpetual battery, is what I'm trying to say to you. And if you try to do all things and be all things to all people at all times, this week your self-talk could end up really, you know, taking a very heavy turn, and it might get the better of you. So just be good to you, okay? For your, now, the Death card with the Eight of Wands, your communications this week, it's almost like you're trying to convince yourself, like, if you know that this offer is no good, you know, whether you're studying, whether you're retired, whether you're working, whether you're a business owner, whatever it is, if you know it's no good, don't try to convince yourself of anything else. If you are, in some regard, ready to pull communication or cut some kind of interpersonal tie, if you're ready to say, you know what, this connection, it doesn't work for me anymore, or whatever it is, don't be afraid to let something go through its natural process of leaving your life, is what I'm trying to say to you, okay? Don't convince yourself, no, I have to fight to keep this thing alive. What for? If it's done, let it be done, yes? Okay, for our love and relations, we've got the Three of Swords. This with the Devil card, I'm going to say, Leo, try not to cut your nose off to spite your face this week. Don't get me wrong, we've talked about reasons, like if something needs to be cut off, then absolutely. But when it comes to those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, you might decide to hold so rigidly to an idea, an ideal, and for what? Just so that you can say that you won the argument. It will cause a rift that is that's not repairable in the time frame that they usually are. You know, like when you're in a couple, sometimes you can have a little tiff, and it's like, oh, you know what, we were both idiots, I still love you, come, let's go snuggle on the sofa. Great, right? That's part of a healthy relationship, as far as I'm concerned. However, this week you could hold to this idea, maybe it's in a blind spot of yours, and so this is why you aren't seeing it. You could hold to an idea and it could cause a bit of an upset or an argument, etc. And by doing so, it's not gonna heal in that usual time. You know, usually sometimes it takes a few hours, sometimes it will take a day, but usually, you know, we get back to it pretty quickly. This may be something that drags on for a week, 2 weeks, potentially up to and including 3 months. So be mindful of whatever potential arguments come up this week. For those of you that are single, look, if it didn't work the first time and it didn't work the second time, and you and this person keep doing this dance of coming back together and just let it be done already, right? Just let it be done. For those of you that are single and looking, look, you got the Devil card here, you got the Three of Swords. It's not to say that you're I know a lot of Leos at this point are like, I'm repugnant, there's something wrong with me, but nobody wants to stay. It's not, it's just we're being prepared. You know, as many of you know, I'm a Leo ascendant. We're being prepared for the right connection. And unfortunately, especially if you're a Leo ascendant to a lesser degree, but still relevant, the sun and the moon, you've got Saturn moving through the 7th house. You know, that's making you get really real about what you want and need from a relationship, so that you can have the right one. And until Saturn sort of, you know, POs from that sign, it's going to be the case. March 2023, not long to go. Says Raph, counting the days, hours and minutes. You've got the Magician card here as your money and materials. This is great. However, this could see you overspending on something, especially if you allow yourself to be convinced that this is something that you need. Just be sure. If you are spending big money, if you feel like it's a great investment, it probably is. You've got the Magician card. However, the Magician card also has that trickster energy, and with what I said about the 8 of Wands, it does feel like somebody's trying to sales you. Somebody's trying to, do you know what I mean? Like somebody's trying to give you that, like, this is the thing that you need. It's gonna, you know, it's absolutely gonna, like, this is it. This is the only thing you'll ever need to purchase from here on in. And I'm just not entirely sure it delivers. However, your money, your resources, and this is a really interesting thing, your money and your resources look like they're improving this week, and they're going to continue to improve. What feels evident to me though is that you might be so busy that it's like, well, I've got all this extra money, but I can't spend it because I'm always bloody working. It's possible. For your physical health and vitality, especially with the Devil card, watch out for your vices. This is actually would be a really good week to try a detox of some sort. You know, I'm not a doctor, can't give you medical advice. Look after yourself. When it comes to your home and environment, again, just be, you know, mindful of what you're being offered and or sold at this moment in time. And this would be a really good week to do a home cleanse, whatever that means to you. All right. The other thing is with the Magician card as well, you might not necessarily be getting the full story around your living situation. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have as conscious a week as you possibly can. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. All right. Take care, and I'll see you soon.